Hi everyone, this is Scott up at NCAR, and this is a tutorial on how to install Vapor, a tutorial that we thought we never would need, but we do have users ask us, if they might be having trouble on a certain operating system, and so we thought we would throw a tutorial together on how to just install the application on all of the different platforms we support. So I'm going to go through how to install it on OSX, on Windows, and then on Ubuntu, as well as CentOS or Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So I'm going to start off, let's see, with OSX. And some of this tutorial is going to be kind of slow because there is an installation that does have to, process itself. And so I'm going to timestamp all the different operating systems below on the YouTube description. So if you're only interested in your own operating system, find the link below, and that's where you can pick up. So let's see, OSX. The first thing I should point out is to download Vapor. I guess let me represent. There's www.ucar or vapor.ucar.edu, and that's our home page. And that's where you're going to find all of our download links. So if I go there, here's our home page, and at the top there's the announcement for our most recent release. I'll click on download, and Vapor, our team likes to ask these questions from our users so that we can better steer what features we're going to develop in the future. It's all about getting the right specification for where Vapor is going to go into the future. We can't do that without our users giving us feedback. And so we have this form that we ask anyone who's willing to just to fill out what their field of study is, where they're from, and then you don't have to fill it out if you don't want to. If you want to be anonymous, you can just click on submit. But again, your feedback is tremendous to us. And so we have a thank you message, and then that will redirect you to our GitHub page, to our latest release, Vapor 3.4.0. And then for OSX, or whatever operating system you're on, there's going to be your binary distributable package listed down here under the assets category. And so there's CentOS 7, Darwin, which is fancy talk for OSX. There's Ubuntu, and then there's Windows 64-bit. So I'm going to start with Darwin, or OSX, the platform I'm working on natively on my own device. I've already downloaded it. So you would just click on darwin.dmg, and then that would initiate a download. And let's see how my download is going. Let's see my downloads folder. I'll go to date modified. Got that one. Well, I can just do that one. Maybe I didn't download it, but this is an older one. I'll just double click it, and then click on this Vapor icon, drag it into applications, give it an administrator authentication. Let's make sure I don't have it open. If I had Vapor open, let's see. Okay, I will replace. But yeah, if I had Vapor currently open, it wouldn't be able to install over the files that were currently open in my running application. So my admin username is Pierce, admin, and I won't say my password. And I should say OSX is probably the easiest operating system to install Vapor on. So if you have the opportunity to use Vapor on OSX, that's the platform that all of the developers on our team use to do their development. And so not only is it going to be, I guess less buggy, but it'll also be more consistent with what we are actively practicing with Vapor. So, okay, I heard the spring on OSX go off, which means Vapor has now been installed in my applications directory. I can double click there, and then in my applications directory, I now have Vapor. So I'll double click that, and the first thing that is going to happen is that OSX is going to alert me that this is an application from an unidentified developer, and we have not identified ourselves with Apple yet. So here we go. Vapor cannot be opened because the developer cannot be verified. And I have two options, move to trash or cancel. And so until we verify Vapor with Apple, you're going to get this message and it's going to seem like a brick wall that you hit. So what you have to do is you click cancel first, and then to open Vapor for your first time, you have to right click on Vapor, click on open, and if you do the right click and then click on open, there is the open option button that's on that prompt that we saw a second ago. So now I'll click open, and now Vapor should be on your Mac. And so here's Vapor's user interface with our big transparent window. I know it's kind of hard to discern what's Vapor and what's not, but once I click on File, and I'll import some WRF data, then Vapor will start to look more, I guess, more intuitive or usable. Everything's grayed out right now. You can't really use anything until you load data. But now OSX is saying, you know, do we want to allow Vapor to use a file browser? I'll click OK, and then I'll browse to my WRF data and just import any random WRF file. And there we go. There's our WRF domain. I can create a new renderer. Click on, and there is Vapor on OSX. I can verify just to be complete. Let me see if I can go. If I go to my About Vapor under the Vapor tab, I can verify the version of Vapor that I'm running up here. And so this is 3.4.1, and this is the git commit hash that this build was built from. And so if you ever report a bug, this is going to be something that's going to be very helpful to report. You know, different bugs exist on different versions, and so one of the first things we'll ask if you report a bug is what version are you running on. And so to find that, you can go to the preferences, or no, I'm sorry, on OSX it's under Vapor menu, About Vapor, and then we have the version number right here. Okay, so that's OSX. Next, I think I'm going to move on to Ubuntu. Let's see. I have some virtual machines I'm going to kick up. So here's my VirtualBox manager. I have Ubuntu 18 running. So if you're running Ubuntu, the procedure is a little bit different. Let's see. Huh, interesting. I'll do a force power off on that. Okay, I'm going to boot that up in the background. I have a, while Ubuntu's booting up, I might as well, is this going to be faster than I think? Oh, this might not be a big deal. Let's see. Okay, cool. So Ubuntu, I have my virtual machine running, and so this is how to install Vapor on Ubuntu. Again, I'll just go through the motions, I guess, since I think most people will be only watching one portion of this installation tutorial for their own operating system, and then skip whatever they're not interested in. So I've opened up Firefox, and here I am again at our releases page, where we can see all of the Vapor releases. I'll scroll to the top. Here's our weekly release. We have a pre-release out right now, but our latest release that's verified, this green one, is Vapor 3.4.0. And then again, I have my listing of all the different installers we have. Ubuntu.shell is right there, but I believe I've already I've already downloaded it. And so for the I guess the Linux platforms, you need to install with a terminal, and so I have a terminal icon over here on my left. I'll open that up and I'll cd into my downloads directory, and I'll do an ls and find out what all my files are. And so here we have Vapor 3.4.0-ubuntu.sh. And so here's the step on the Linux platforms that doesn't exist on OS X or Windows. We can see when I did my ls, we can see my file permissions here on the left. And so what these stand for are read permissions, write permissions, and then this dash is our executable permissions for our 3 different groups. Root, group, and then user is on the far right. And so the user permissions right here are only for read. There's no write access, which we don't need, but we do need executable access, which is this far dash on the right. And so what I'm going to do is issue a command called change, or chmod. I'm not sure how people pronounce that. I say change mod, but it stands for change mode. We're changing the mode of operation on this file. And so I'm going to give it a -x, which enables the executable flag on Vapor 340-ubuntu.sh. And so if I do ls-lrth again, well, let's see, I'll do a brute force, 777. Well, okay, maybe that was barbaric. I'm not sure what went wrong. I thought -x would work, but 777 is kind of considered overkill because you're enabling all read-write permissions for all groups and all users on your file. But for Vapor, it isn't a big deal. But if you do this recursively on your root directory, that's well, that's gonna be a big security issue. But we can see that the X character on my file permissions is now enabled for my user, my current user. These write 3 characters, those are my user permissions, and so I now have read, write, and executable permissions on Vapor 340.sh. And so from now I can do I can execute the script as a user. That's why we enabled the executable flag. So I'll just do /vapor340ubuntu.sh, and then Vapor will say, we'll talk about our license, and I have to press enter, I think it's 11 times, but whoops, I missed. So let's try that again. Okay, so there's our license, and I'll say yes, I accept the license. It's all like OpenBSD, Apache licenses, very, very free for people to use. And then it will ask us where to install it. I'm just going to install it from the directory that I'm executing from, so I'll click yes again. And now it's installing. So it's unpacked. I'll do an ls-lrth, and we can see now that in my directory I have Vapor 3-3.4.0-Linux. That's where Vapor has been installed. By default, we're installing it in the same directory that the shell script lives in. And so if I cd into Vapor and do an ls, I have a binary directory. That's where Vapor is going to be installed. So I'll go cd into bin, and there's Vapor right there. It's not an icon you can double click. You have to execute it by the command line. You'll notice that there's also the data conversion utilities that Vapor comes with. CF to VDC. Basically, if you're trying to convert your data so that Vapor can read it, your Vapor conversion utilities are going to be bundled in the same directory where Vapor lives, which is where you install it. And so once I'm in this directory, I can do just /Vapor, and there it is. And for demonstration's sake, I'll go import worth ARW, and let's see, there's a worth file. And there's my domain, and I'm on a virtual machine. So the graphics interface isn't going to work, but let's try it anyway. I'll click on volume, and let's see what happens. This shouldn't work. I don't think it'll work. Hey, wait, what did work, actually? It's slow, but it worked. Well, I don't think it's going to work on CentOS, but it's beside the point. So that's how you install Vapor on Ubuntu. let's close out. I'm just gonna, gosh, I think the theme of this tutorial is brute force. So I will power off the machine hard. And let's see if we can boot up CentOS. I was wanting to save Windows for last, but let's see how long it takes to boot up CentOS. CentOS is pretty much the same procedure that we just went through on Ubuntu. You download the file, you change the mode of execution, agree to the license, and then that should be it. Alright, my CentOS machine might need to, gosh, I thought I installed my VirtualBox guest editions, but I think we can plow forward. Yeah, beside the point again. So here I am on CentOS at Vapor's GitHub website, github.com/ncar/vapor, and I'm looking at our current releases. And I believe if I scroll down, Vapor 3.4.0 is our current latest release. Go down to the assets, and then here's the CentOS installer, Vapor 3.4.0-CentOS7.sh. I believe this should be already installed. So if I click on my Firefox arrow, yes, I can see it there. I'm going to go to, well, it doesn't make sense to look at this in a file browser because I need to run these commands through the terminal. So I'll open up a terminal and I will cd into downloads. And then the last modified file is Vapor 3.4.0 CentOS 7. And again, we have read and write permissions for all three groups. Well, I guess only read for my current user, but no executable. So I'm just going to go do a brute force change mode 777 Vapor CentOS.sh. And it looks like I actually have a previous installation in here. This directory right here was previous, so I'm just going to remove that. rm-rf Vapor Linux. Okay, and so now from here I will install Vapor CentOS 7.sh just with /Vapor 3 9 10 11. Let's see, don't miss it. There we go. Cool. All right. So if I do an ls, now my Vapor 3 directory is back. I can cd into Vapor, and there's my directories. I'll cd into the binary directory, and then /Vapor. Failed to initialize the visualizer. Yeah, so this is where the graphics compatibility with virtual machines kind of rears its ugly head. You know, it's not that ugly though. This is still a great tool for debugging and demonstration purposes and troubleshooting. So what are the details? Just curious. OpenGL, yeah. So the OpenGL version is not supported on this VirtualBox. I'm surprised it was with Ubuntu. But I'll just click past it, click OK, and Vapor completely crashes out on my VirtualBox. But well, it's the same procedure for CentOS as it is for Ubuntu. And so if you imagine I did the same steps for here that I did for Ubuntu, it would be the same result. In which case the graphics would work, but you know, here we have a hard crash because I'm on a VirtualBox. But the same steps apply. It's download the file, change the mode, and then run the installation shell script. So yeah, that's the Linux systems. I'm going to go ahead and do another hard shutdown on that just to save my computer, my actual hardware, its compute cycles. And the last one I'm going to do is I have a remote desktop on a Windows machine. Let's see. Oh dear, what is my password? Hey, all right. lucked out. So here I am on a remote desktop on a server running Windows, and again, it's the same procedure. You go to the Vapor website, fill out our survey if you can, or just go to the GitHub website to our releases. Find the release you want. So this is Vapor 3.4.0, and then scroll down, and then pick on your operating system of choice. This will be Vapor 3 for Windows 64, and I believe I've already downloaded it. So yes, there it is. And so Windows, like OS X, you can simply double click on the installer. There's no terminal or changing of the mode for the installer involved, no change mod or mode. So I'll just double click on that. And then Windows protected my PC, but if I click on more info, I can run it anyway. And that's kind of the same thing that Mac is trying to do. We're not registered as developers with Apple or Windows. And we've looked into it before, and we haven't quite gotten there yet. But there's ways to run these things anyways. So let's see. If I want to allow this program. Here's the question. My username that will allow me to do this on my remote server must be. Let's see. I think I might be out of luck on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna punt on Windows. But if I can describe it, maybe that'll be helpful to Windows users, because this is probably one of the, Apple and Windows are the easiest operating systems to install upon. Once you download the file, like what we see right here, you just double click it, and if you do have administrative privileges and you can remember the password, then it's a very simple wizard where you just click next, 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 next. And at that point, once you get through the wizard, let's see, we installed it here before. Yeah, once you've gone through the wizard, vapor.exe will be probably in your program files directory, and you'll be able to just click it as long as you have your drivers installed correctly. So, oh, that's right. This is a remote server without a graphics card, so that's another problem. You need a graphics card, and you need admin privileges. So I don't know if there's feedback to do another video for Windows installation, I can do that. But I think honestly most of the trouble with installing Vapor is on the Linux systems, and so I've covered both of those. I hope that's enough, and I can elaborate more if there's questions. Again, I should point out, if anyone has any questions, we have a discourse forum, and so this is where we try to guide people to. If I go to discourse, vapor.discourse.group, if you guys have any questions, this is where we're going to be able to find them and respond to them in the most rapid succession. So yeah, that's the installation tutorial. I regret that whole Windows hubbub, but again, if it doesn't make sense to anyone, hit up the discourse group, and maybe I'll make a Windows video dedicated on a actual Windows laptop or desktop. So thanks for watching, and hit us up if you have any questions. All right, thank you.